It started out as a routine reconnaissance mission, but the situation changed instantly. That's when one of the soldiers realized they were being watched. Shortly after, they opened fire first. However, instead of ending it, the gunfire only triggered a disaster. The enemy arrived in greater numbers. As a result, a firefight was inevitable. They were pelted with bullets, and explosions raining down from all directions left the soldiers overwhelmed and increasingly cornered. To avoid bazooka fire, they desperately jumped off the cliff. Tragically, 2 men fell in the midst of the battle. And what's truly chilling is that one of them willingly sacrificed himself to contact headquarters via radio. Upon hearing the distress signal, a battalion was immediately flown in to rescue them. But before all the troops could land, suddenly a rocket streaked through the sky and blew the plane to pieces in midair. Left with no choice, the 2 remaining soldiers had to fend for themselves. But one of them ended up surrounded. And to make matters worse, he ran out of ammunition. He was eventually killed on the spot. Now only this soldier remains. Unbeknownst to him, he was being targeted by a bazooka, and the explosion sent his body tumbling down to the bottom of the cliff. But he was still alive and hurried to hide beneath the rocks. Holding his breath, he hoped the enemy searching for him would assume he was already dead. Then, once he felt safe, he immediately tried to find a way out of the forest. Thirsty, he jumped into a pond, and suddenly some locals found the soldier. At first, he was terrified and immediately grabbed a grenade. But unexpectedly, the villagers actually wanted to help. They took the soldier to the village to be treated. Unfortunately, the soldier's presence was detected. Several enemies arrived and dragged the soldier away to be beheaded. But the villagers did not stand idly by. They fought back to prove their honor, choosing death over surrendering their guest. The soldier was freed, but the mob swore they would return to seek revenge. Sure enough, the next day the village was ruthlessly overrun. They arrived with troops to slaughter all the villagers. Refusing to surrender so easily, the villagers tried to fight back with whatever weapons they had. The soldiers, who were the primary targets, were immediately attacked brutally. However, luckily, the homeowner's son provided a weapon to strike back. Amid the increasingly frenzied attack, reinforcements from the military suddenly arrived. Fighter jets rained down fire from the sky. Meanwhile, ground troops stormed in from all directions. The village turned into a battlefield. The explosions of bombs, rockets, and gunfire could be heard everywhere. The enemy, who hadn't expected a sudden attack, was forced to flee for their lives. Finally, the village was saved. The soldier was immediately evacuated. Before leaving, he thanked the villagers who had saved his life.